is your usual suspect. Welcome back from that Liverpool action. Congratulations, Liverpool, you are the champions of the Premier League 2024-2025. But before we dive into all that, allow me do my usual thing, where I just test out, our microphones and make sure that we are with everything as it should be, set up to avoid any mishaps whatsoever. So indulge me as I get on to this. We need to test out our microphones and be sure that we are set up for the broadcast. But Liverpool are Premier League champions as of today after beating the Tottenham Hotspurs pretty much in the manner in which we did expect or that we did predict that things would go. So, yes, just 1 second. Uh, as I wait for you guys to do it, as I wait for the rest of you to join us on this broadcast, might take a bit, a couple of minutes, but it will be worthwhile. Trust me. Uh, because Liverpool are the champions of the Premier League for the 2024-2025. Manchester City have also advanced to the finals of the FA Cup this year. They were in the finals last year, so we'll get to discuss that and more. But more importantly, earlier on we did discuss Manchester United in their draw against Bournemouth. For those of you that want my views on that, please check out our earlier live broadcast. And thank you to all our new subscribers and the people that are joining our community as we continue to grow. Because as far as I'm concerned, we've hit that mark of 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to all our subscribers. You're really, really much appreciated. But like I said, it's a jubilant mood at Anfield. Before I turned things off, things were already underway. Celebrations were already underway at Anfield after Liverpool clinched the title, beating Tottenham Hotspurs by 5 goals to 1. Of course, Tottenham Hotspurs were the first to score through a superb header by Dominic Solanke, but I mean, that was just a smoke screen. It was never bound to last, and pretty much the way we expected. Remember, for those of you that do follow us ardently, this prediction was a 4-1 victory for Liverpool against Tottenham Hotspur. I did expect a very routine victory for Liverpool. We did expect that not the game to be a walkover, but we did expect the mindset of Tottenham Hotspurs to be on that game versus Bordeaux Grimont that they will be playing on Thursday in the semi-finals of the UEFA Europa League. And pretty much the way the game transpired, that's what really happened. I tried to follow that game minute by minute, but like I said in my earlier broadcast, my main concentration was on that game between Nottingham Forest and Man City, and trust me, it did not disappoint for a single minute. But like I said, it's time for jubilation and tribulations for Liverpool there as they get to win the Premier League title in front of their home crowd for the first time in what? In over 3 decades. Of course, after 33 years, they did win the Premier League title under Jurgen Klopp. That was for the 2019-2020 season. But remember, it was the COVID-19 season. Countries were into lockdown. A lot of sporting activities had been suspended. The Premier League did return, and Liverpool continued to be spectacular in that season. Of course, I think they lost only just 1 game, but because of the absence of the fans in the stadium, they never got the chance to celebrate with them. They never got the chance to do a trophy parade. As you know, we've seen with Newcastle when they beat up against Liverpool to win the Carabao Cup. You saw the scenes for the city of Newcastle there and how electric and magnanimous the celebrations were. So now you can imagine what is to come after the end of the season. But more importantly, Before even the game could end, Liverpool fans had already started throwing the balloons onto the pitch in celebration of clinching the Premier League title in quite a spectacular fashion. Like I said in the earlier broadcast, and not many of us had predicted or expected that Arne Slot would walk into Anfield and guide Liverpool to the Premier League title in his first season, especially bearing in mind that he was stepping into the big shoes of Jurgen Klopp. But he did find a very, very decent team, one that to which he wanted to make some additions, especially holding midfielder. We all know about Liverpool's pursuit for Martin Zubimendi in the summer, but that did not come to fruition. Well, he decided that I will only add Federico Chiesa, and that's the player he signed, and then decided to go with the team that he had. Ryan Gravenberch, yes, signed from Bayern Munich. That was last season, but one. He's a player that we really knew that was already good, but the trust that he's got in Arne Slot really proved that he's a much better player than we actually thought of him. Of course, Wataru Endo chipping in whenever called upon in that midfield, but it has oftentimes been the composition of Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Soboslai, and Alexis McAllister, who, by the way, scored a stunning goal for Liverpool's second goal on the day. There, after Luis Diaz had scored, courtesy of a Dominic Soboslai assist to cancel out Dominic Solanke's lead that he had given to Spurs. I remember seeing when Spurs scored, the manager in Ange Postecoglou celebrating with his assistant with, a part of the arm there, of the palm actually. And I thought to myself, well, it's not going to last. And indeed, it did not last because Tottenham scored in the 12th minute, and just 4 minutes later, Liverpool had already restored parity. Like we said in the preamble or in the preview of that particular fixture, the atmosphere in the stadium was going to be electric. The fans were going to be behind their Liverpool side for every minute of the game to encourage them to go on, even if Liverpool had gone 2 goals down or even 3 goals down. I did have sort of the feel and the confidence that they would bounce back because of what the fixture meant to them, because of what the result of today's fixture really meant for their fans and everybody that is attached to Liverpool in general. So, and then after the 16 minutes, with that equalizer from Luis Diaz, it is again Ryan Gravenberch winning the ball inside the Tottenham Hotspur box to provide the assist for Alexis McAllister, who then put that ball past the reach of Guillermo Vicario. Now, again, this was Tottenham will only have themselves to blame because of the manner in which they defended, for particularly the second goal, because they do win the ball back high inside their own area and then pass it around and then concede possession before even leaving the 18 yards box, really, because they passed it out and then back in and then somewhere out there. They're caught out of possession. Ryan Gravenberch wins back possession, passes the ball to Alexis McAllister, and he strikes that ball quite swiftly beyond the reach of Guillermo Vicario to make it 2-1 for Liverpool. And then 10 minutes later, it was Cody Gakpo that did score to make it 3-1, and pretty much the game was as good as done. Regardless of what Tottenham did in the second half, I did not think they would have any bearing whatsoever on this Liverpool side, given the motivation, given the atmosphere in the stadium, and everything that does come with it. Of course, they get to win their 20th Premier League title, I think, to equal that record that Manchester United have held for quite some time, ever since 2020, ever since 2012, 2013, when Sir Alex Ferguson guided them their 20th Premier League title. For those of you that do remember, Robin Van Persie, who they had just signed from Arsenal, being very pivotal in clinching that title. So it was quite impressive. And then, of course, the icing of the cake on the day would be a goal for Mohamed Salah to perhaps mark his 20th goal of the Premier League this season and the 46th, I think, in contribution. That's in goals and assists combined. And he made no mistake because he did score in the 63rd minute, courtesy of a Dominic Soboslai assist, who was getting his second assist of the day there. Unfortunately for Spurs, was that 6 minutes later they were conceding their fifth goal on the day, courtesy of a Destin Udogi, on goal as he tried to clear that ball to steer it away from somebody's path. Because again, Liverpool were destined to score, but Destin Udogi thought if he had any slim chance of, protecting the goal, he would try to. But unfortunately, he ended up scoring in the back of his own net to make it 5-1 for Liverpool. And that's how the game finished, 5-1 for Arne Slot versus Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham have no excuse whatsoever. Regardless of where their psychological state of mind was, you felt that they lacked the grit, they lacked the fight, because in any case, the goals could have been much more than that. But indeed, Liverpool were the more spirited side. They had a lot more to play for than Tottenham Hotspurs, who coming into this game were what, 16th or 17th on the Premier League table, and that kind of thing. So following that victory, we all know Liverpool are champions, and the rest will be fighting for places. Arsenal will be fighting to finish second on the Premier League table, while Manchester City, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Aston Villa will be fighting to see who finishes us in the top five to qualify for next season's UEFA Champions League. But coming into the fixture, Tottenham Hotspurs were as low as 16, and that has not really changed much today, because it is West Ham United that occupy the 17th place because they are just a point above them. So with a negative, they do have a positive 6-goal difference. It's United and Everton, and among other teams that have negative goal differences. But I thought it was a very impressive game. Congratulations, Liverpool. Congratulations to Liverpool fans. Most notably, some of the Liverpool fans that I do know. There's Fiona Pinky, for those of you that know her. She's a sports broadcaster with Next Media Services. There's Aldrin Soboka, at StarTimes there, very ardent Liverpool fan. I do hope that even Aldrin Soboka Jr. is also maybe a Liverpool fan. And then there's a one Gaddafi, a former schoolmate of mine, a Liverpool fan that I do know. There's a Joel Nuwagaba, a Liverpool fan. Among those that I do know, Canary Mugumi is a Liverpool fan. So that's a journalist, again with Next Media Services. And all the Liverpool fans out there, congratulations, you are the champions of England for the 2024-2025 Premier League season. Well deserved, I must say. Well deserved. I should note. Anyway, maybe the other key thing I will have to note before we move into that Man City fixture against Nottingham Forest is the game. Chelsea, first of all. Chelsea were knocked off the park this afternoon and losing to Barcelona. Was it 4-1 in the return leg of the Women's UEFA Champions League semi-finals, being knocked out 8-2 on aggregate. So Chelsea crashed out on that aggregate, or on that scoreline. By the time of the broadcast, Arsenal were leading by 4-0 against Lyon. That game is the second semi-final return leg. Lyon won the first leg at the Emirates Stadium by 2-1. But before coming to the broadcast, Lyon were behind by 4-0. As we speak, it's Lyon have pulled one back, and it's 4-3. It's 4-1 as the scoreline, but the aggregate scoreline is that Arsenal are leading by 5-3. So that's the aggregate scoreline. I can see Ford, Alicia Russo, Cladente, and Elder, of course, Christiane Elder did score an own goal for Arsenal's first. That was in as early as the 50th minute. So that's for the Women's UEFA Champions League. It looks like Arsenal are about to complete a second comeback in that UEFA Women's Champions League. Remember, at the quarterfinals, they knocked out Real Madrid. Real Madrid beat them in Spain by 2 goals to nil, and then when they came to the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal beat Real Madrid by 3 goals to nil to knock them out of the competition. And now they do face one of those historic sides in the competition, and it looks like if nothing changes within these last few minutes, Arsenal could be destined for the final in which they will have to play Barcelona. And yet, do not forget that Arsenal, the men's team, are also in the semi-finals in which they are going to be playing PSG, and they do have a chance to also book themselves for a final, potentially with Barcelona, if Barcelona can overcome Inter Milan in the second semi-final of that competition. Anyways, let's pack the UEFA Champions League aside for now and speak the FA Cup, because I couldn't have been more wrong about Man City, because my prediction had been that Nottingham Forest would beat them by 2 goals to 1, but that did not come to pass. However, if you did not watch the game, you could really crucify me. But trust me, it was because of Nottingham Forest's lack of fortune on the day. I think they did not speak to their gods, especially Morgan Gibbs White, because Man City have beaten them by 2 goals to nil. A goal scored by Reco Ruiz in the first few minutes of the game, and then the other goal scored by Josko Vadiol, a header that made it 2-0. But overall, you thought, yes, Man City were a better team, but oh my God, the amount of opportunities that Nottingham Forest did lose or failed to convert in that game could have easily, potentially, won them the game. We could have easily had a 5-4 score at the end of the time, but it was never meant to be. It was really never meant to be for Nottingham Forest. I thought even after conceding the first goal by Reco Ruiz, Nottingham Forest did not send themselves into panic. They maintained their composure. They played their game, because that goal came as early as the second minute by Reco Ruiz, scoring from the outside of the area, and in pretty spectacular style. When I was here in the earlier broadcast speaking about the starting 11s, as one of those that did critique Reco Ruiz's involvement in this particular lineup at the expense of the likes of the experienced Ilkay Gundogan, and knowing that Kevin De Bruyne had been left on that bench, the likes of Phil Foden was one of the many that did sort of question that decision of Pep Guardiola. But wow! But like I said, as a disclaimer, that the manager, Pep Guardiola, perhaps knew better than we all did, and indeed, it couldn't have been more true, because it was Reco Ruiz that did score in the second minute to give Man City the lead, to make it 1-0. And Nottingham Forest, in the first half, really, they did not threaten Man City. They sort of maintained their game plan to try and soak in the pressure, look to capitalize on counterattacks and other opportunities if they were to come. But it was in the second half when they tried to cause a bit of mayhem. And in as early as the 46th minute, because then they had introduced Anthony Elanga. I mean, he missed a golden opportunity. Carl Hudson-Odoi plays him a clean cross. All he has to do is tap that ball on target, and probably he had, I think, about 98% chance of beating Stefan Ortega had that ball been on target. But unfortunately, he sent it wide, so they missed up on that opportunity. Then Morgan Gibbs White twice hit the post. First, he hit the crossbar, and then he hit the upright when Man City conceded possession in the area. There was an error between Josko Vadiol and I think a miscommunication with Stefan Ortega. Then Nottingham Forest win possession back in the area, and Morgan Gibbs White was the man running to it, and his attempt hit the base of the upright, and it came out. So then they had an opportunity with, I think it was Timothy Awoni, who hit the post again. I mean, just imagine if 2 of those opportunities had gone in, or even if 3 of those opportunities had gone in, because in all the 3 circumstances, the goalkeeper was nowhere near reach of those balls. So clearly, it's something that causes me to say that Nottingham Forest were really, really unlucky on the day. So, but like I said, after Nottingham Forest missing that opportunity through Anthony Elanga in the 51st minute, Joshko Vardiol was on the other side, scoring the corner from Omar Mamouche to make it 2-0, which turned out to be a scoreline that won the game for Pep Guardiola to send him into the finals of the FA Cup, in which they will be facing off with Crystal Palace. Now, if there is any team that Man City really know how to beat, it's Crystal Palace. It's not to say that they are 100% clean versus Crystal Palace, but we do remember just recently, I think even this month or late last month, this month, when Crystal Palace went to the Etihad Stadium, led that game by 2-0, missed an opportunity, a glorious opportunity, by the way, to make it 3-0. I think Eberechi Eze was the culprit. And then Man City came 2 goals down and beat them by 5-2 on the day. So that's the team that they will be playing, who last played in the finals of the FA Cup in 2016 when they lost to Manchester United by 2-1. Those goals scored by one Manuel Mata with the equalizer. Of course, Justin Panchon had scored to give Crystal Palace the lead. Crystal Palace under the judges of Alan Pardew, a former Newcastle United manager, as well as Norwich City. Yeah, so and then that led goal by Jesse Lingard that won Manchester United the 2016 FA Cup, which then culminated into the sacking, unfortunately, of Louis van Gaal. So it will be Crystal Palace versus Man City in the final. It will be Oliver Glasner versus Pep Guardiola in the finals of the FA Cup come this the end of this season. Last season, Man City did make it to the finals of the FA Cup, and they were beaten by Manchester United by 2-1 as then United manager Erik ten Hag won his second title for the club in his second season with the club. Unfortunately, he has since been sacked in his third campaign, and we all know was replaced by none other than Ruben Amorim, for whom he still has a lot to do to make sure that United get back to their very best, or somewhere close to what they think is their very best, as far as things are concerned. So I just wanted us to get a bit of reaction, congratulatory reaction from X here, from the Liverpool fans. I want to think, because Angie, I think I can see Tottenham fans will continue asking for the sacking of Ange Postecoglou, because they do think he has fallen short of standards, despite guiding them to a fifth place finish last season that qualified them for the Europa League, in which they are into the semi-finals, like we spoke earlier on, and that they will be playing Bordeaux Plymouth. So many Tottenham fans will be calling for his head on the spike following today's result, because it really didn't look good on him and his side in Tottenham Hotspurs. But anyways, let's try and see if we can find any reaction for Liverpool in the form of congratulatory messages for them clinching the 20th league title there, which they just did today. Of course, so many posts of champions. You can see, by the way, this is the second Premier League title for Liverpool. Why do I say? In 1992, that is when the league changes to be called the Premier League. Of course, for those of us that were watching it in the early 2000s, it was called the Barclays Card Premier League, because the Barclays Bank were the main sponsors of the league. But Premier League, once that partnership ended, they said no to the naming rights, and it remained Premier League. So all the other 18 titles, Liverpool had won them before the change of the name. So that's why I'm saying they have 2 Premier League titles. But as far as the league is concerned, they have 20 league titles, just as much as Man United. United have 13 Premier League titles, one under Sir Alex Ferguson for those. And then Arsenal have 3 Premier League titles, one under Arsene Wenger. Chelsea have as many as what, 4? Because they won 3 under Jose Mourinho, 2 in his first spell and another in his second spell. They won another with Carlo Ancelotti, 1-1 with Antonio Conte. So that's 4. I seem to remember as though there was another. Hi, Anandal Achu. Hi, how are you? Thank you for tuning to the broadcast and thank you for joining. So Liverpool are champions. So most of the videos is of Liverpool celebrating, they're congratulating their manager in Anna Slot, of course, guiding them to Premier League title in his debut season in charge. The BBC has posted, Jurgen Klopp in the background there. It's a photo of Ange Postecoglou standing before the league title and with Jurgen Klopp clapping in the background. So that's mostly what's happening on X. Basically, there's not much praises in terms of the comments. It's simply photos. There's a famous here photo of Mohamed Salah taking a selfie with Liverpool fans after he scored that goal. That was the 4th on the evening, and he's 28 as far as being the league top scorer is concerned. And like I said, the balloons started flowing onto the turf before even the game did climax. Sir Ken Dalglish was one of those that was in the stands and watching his team on. He did manage Liverpool at some point after Rafa Benitez left, and then in the mix there was Boy Hodgson. Where are you from? Achu. Yes, I'm from Uganda, Kampala, East Africa. Where are you from, Achu? Tell me where you're from in the comment section. Let's continue to engage. But thank you for taking the time to join the podcast. You're really much appreciated. So I know. And guys, let me not hear these kinds of comparison of it took Jurgen Klopp 9 years to win 1 Premier League title, and it's taken Ange Postecoglou one year, because the teams both managers inherited were quite different. So let me not hear that kind of conversation or even comparison. In any case, and Jurgen Klopp deserves as even equal credit in regards to this title as much as Anna Slot, because last season they were contenders. With the same team. So I can see Liverpool fans in pubs and clubs taking beers. Yes, Achu is from India. What part of India? Karakata, Mumbai. What other place have I heard about India? Not so many, unfortunately, but at least I've heard of Mumbai. Is it Karakata? Then there's that other place that has unfortunately been in the news for a bad incident in which tourists were attacked. Sorry about that, guys. We do condole with the deceased and those of you that lost their loved ones. You say you're from Kerala. Kerala, yes. So thank you for joining the podcast. By the way, we do have a good number of Indians here in Uganda, and they're a wonderful community. Generally, they're a wonderful community. So I can see a photo of Wataru Endo, Alison Ramses Baker, the 3 of them hugging with Andy Robertson there on the turf after they clinched that title. Then Liverpool have tied Manchester United to become the only clubs in England history to win 20 top flight titles. Legendary. Arsenal, by the way, as far as league titles are concerned, they have 13, but Premier League titles are simply 3. Those won in 98, 2001, and then 2004. If I've not mixed the years, but that's as far as I can remember. So Liverpool are champions. Mohamed Salah will possibly win the Golden Boot, although Alexander Isak is trying to really push him down to the wire. Yesterday he did score from the penalty spot as Newcastle picked up against Ipswich Town by 3 goals to 0. but that took him to a tally, I think, to a tally of 21 goals with Brad Erling Haaland, who is out injured at the moment. So all the kinds of scenes that you did witness today have been quite celebratory. There is, of course, congratulating Man City who have reached this finals of the FA Cup. Then people are congratulating Virgil van Dijk. Of course, is going to get to lift the Premier League titles. You know, as Liverpool captain, the last one to lift it was Jordan Henderson before he left for the Saudi Pro League, where he eventually left and joined Ajax. So much. This is a comment apparently from Gary Neville. Gary Neville has admitted that Liverpool are the biggest club in England. He says Liverpool have more European cups, and today we equal Manchester United's 20 league titles. The debate is over. Liverpool's success should cause pain and heartache. Apparently, that's a quote from Gary Neville. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Thank you for the love. I do reciprocate it the same way. I really appreciate. Then Liverpool are the first ever side to win multiple league titles ahead of a side managed by ahead of the side managed by Pep Guardiola. Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid were the first 2011-2012. That same season, 2011-2012, is a nightmare for Manchester United fans. After crashing out of the UEFA Champions League at the group stage levels, they went and met Athletic Bilbao in the Europa League, and Bilbao beat them home and away. Then Antonio Conte's Chelsea, 2016-2017, that was, I think, that was Pep Guardiola's first season in England after, of course, after he left Bayern Munich. In 2016, he took, I think, a sabbatical in between before joining Man City. No, I think there was no. He took the sabbatical after leaving Barcelona. But when he left Bayern Munich, he joined Man City. That was his first season, 2016-2017. I think Man City finished fourth in that season. And then Jurgen Klopp, 1920, and then Arne Slot is 24-25. So that's a key statistic there from Squawka. I think Squawka. I hope that's how it's pronounced. But Mohamed Salah is the 10th different African player to win multiple Premier League titles. Riyad Mahrez won 5 of them. One with Leicester City in 2015-2016. Actually, is congratulating us for reaching 1,000 subscribers. Yes, we did clinch 1,000 subscribers this very weekend. So thank you so much. Really much appreciated. And if you're new, kindly add yourself to the community and subscribe to the channel so that we can continue to grow slowly by slowly. So, like I was saying, that speaking about Mo Salah becoming the 10th different African player to win multiple Premier League titles. Of course, I do know Didier Drogba Investable is one of those. Habib Kor Toure, Yaya Toure is one of those. Nwanko Kanu, Salmon Kalu with Chelsea. Was he among those, Salmon Kalu? Because he was part of the Chelsea winning title for 2009-2010 season, under which he was under the charges of Carlo Ancelotti at the time, for those of you that don't remember. But anyway, we had Mahrez 5 titles, that's with 1 with Leicester City and 4 with Man City. Didier Drogba 4 with Chelsea. That was 2 under Jose Mourinho, 1 with Antonio Conte, and in fact 3 with Mourinho, 1 with Antonio Conte. Yes, and the other with with Antonio Conte he wasn't around. Forgive me about that. But 3 with Jose Mourinho, and then 1 with Carlo Ancelotti, 2010. Yes. Then Yaya Toure, 3 of course with Man City, and Nwanko Kanu, 2 with Arsenal. Kolo Toure, 2 with Arsenal. Then you have Jeremy, 2. Michael Essien, 2 at Chelsea. That's 2004-2005, and then 2005-2006. Yeah. Then John Obi Mikel, still the same team at Chelsea, and then now Mo Salah. Yeah. So that's another incredible statistic there. Then Anna Slot is the first ever Dutch manager to win a top flight league title in England, and he's done it in his first season in charge. So quite incredible. We've spoken about the number of Premier League titles. We've spoken about uh, then managers to win the Premier League title in their first season at a club. Jose Mourinho, Chelsea; Carlo Ancelotti, Chelsea; Manuel Pellegrini, Man City. Yes, Man City 2013-2014 Premier League season when Liverpool squandered the opportunity. For those of you that do remember that infamous slip of Steven Gerrard before, what's his name? The former Newcastle striker, Papisi Dembaba. Papisi Dembaba went on to score. Yes. Then Claudio Ranieri with Leicester City, Antonio Conte with Chelsea, and Arne Slot with Liverpool. So that's quite incredible. Incredible. Those are managers that have won Premier League titles in their debut seasons. Yes. So then, yes. I think the Premier League changed name in 91-92, around there. So, anyways, today's statistics: Liverpool had 20 shots on goal, 8 of them were on target, compared to Tottenham's 8, only 3 were on target. Liverpool, of course, dominated possession, averaging 62% compared to 37 or 38 thereabout from Tottenham. And clearly, then Mohamed Salah has now been directly involved in more Premier League goals, 272, than Ryan Giggs, 271. He's played 335 games fewer. So put some respect on that name of Mohamed Salah. Let's look. Yes, we are continuing with the engagement in regards to Liverpool winning the Premier League title. Yes, I can see. Guys, this does not very often happen very often. Good night. I'm going to sleep. Bye bye. Thank you, Archie, for all the time you've dedicated to spend with us. We'll catch you next time. Let's let you go rest. Again, it's very unheard of, not unheard of, but it's very sort of characteristic, perhaps in a painful manner, that Manchester United fans are congratulating their biggest rival on winning the Premier League title to equal theirs. Bye bye, Achu. Thank you for keeping us company while you are here. So I can see my man, Mr. Kuku Kasuku Wazabanga Semanimine there, congratulating Liverpool. And he says, I will visit your stadium later this year when I come to England. Mr. Kasuku, can I join you on that trip as you go to visit Anfield? I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but can I join you? Anyway, jokes aside, but he does congratulate Liverpool on winning the Premier League title. There. Then I can see this one is Dawn. He calls his Oppressy. He says, congrats, champions of England, biggest football club in the United Kingdom. Because Liverpool have what? 5 UEFA Champions League titles. Their last UEFA Champions League title coming in 2019 when they beat up against Tottenham Hotspurs, I think by 2-0 at the finals. And then back in 2005, we all remember in Istanbul when they were 3 goals down against that AC Milan that had Clarence Seedorf, Inzaghi, that had the Ukrainian Andrei Shevchenko, Nesta, that incredible, AC Milan side that were under the charges of Carlo Ancelotti in his early years of, managing football. So there were 3 goals down at halftime, and then they came back and leveled the squad, thanks to an inspiration from then called Captain Fantastic in Steven Gerrard, the Liverpool legend there, and drew 3-3 after extra time, and then won the game on penalties. Of course, Liverpool had a goalkeeper in Joseph Dudek, who did quite plenty to save a number of penalties. Yeah, Liverpool were under the charges of Rafael Benitez and Maodes. Yeah, so And by the way, Rafael Benitez is one of the managers that has managed, one of the foreign managers that has managed more than one club in England, because he managed Liverpool, he managed Chelsea as an interim in 2013 and guided them to the triumph of the Europa League trophy, and also managed Newcastle, for those of you that do remember. So that's the Liverpool side that we are talking about. 5 UEFA Champions League titles and 20 league titles. So that is why they are telling you they are the biggest club in England. Manchester United have 20 league titles and have, I think, what, 2 or 3 UEFA Champions League titles. As far, I think they have 3, but they did win it in 2008, beating Chelsea at the finals on penalties in Monaco. In Moscow. In Moscow. Yes. For those of you that do remember the infamous slip by John Terry to fail to score his penalty. And then they did win it in 99, beating Bayern Munich 2-1. There, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes. So, anyways, so Manchester United, yeah, Manchester United is one of those teams that have won the Champions League. And the big team, oftentimes it is argued, perhaps one of the biggest in the world. Of course, that one is often a contentious debate. It depends on who you're speaking to or with whom you're having the conversation with. But yes, United is a very, very big club that we cannot really deny. That we cannot really deny. But I just need to confirm one fact here. Yes, in the 98-99 season, there, Sir Alex Ferguson, I think that's the year in which they won the treble. For those of you that are Manchester United minders. Again, this one is called, yeah, Tutis says Premier League winner, Game Train with number 20. We are the biggest club in England. Drop your handles. That's his comment on X. Then all the others, photos, videos of celebrations. And then this one says Liverpool is officially the biggest team in England. Most top flight titles, 20. Most UEFA Champions League trophies, 6. Liverpool have 6 UEFA Champions League titles. As far as it goes. So yes, because we do know that Real Madrid have the most. Yes, that's a point of correction. Liverpool don't have 5; they are 6 in fact. Real Madrid have the most with 15. Then AC Milan have 7. Liverpool have 6, as well as FC Bayern Munich. Then Barcelona have 5. Ajax have 4. United have 3. Inter Milan have 3. And then many teams there do have 2, including Chelsea, including Nottingham Forest, Juventus, Benfica, FC Porto, and then so many others have 1-1 apiece. So that's for the sake of history. For those of you that are joining us, last 20 Premier League champions, the last 20 Premier League champions, this one dates to as far back as 2006. So Chelsea, yes, Chelsea have 5 Premier League titles, not 4. They have 5. 2 under Jose Mourinho, then 1 under Carlo Ancelotti, and then the 3rd under Jose Mourinho in his second spell. That was in 2014-2015, and then in 2017 under Antonio Conte. Yes. So the last 20 Premier League titles from 2006 to date is Chelsea. Then Manchester United won it 3 consecutive years. 2007, 2008, 2009. That Manchester United side that was very strong. Carlos Tevez, Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, Nemanja Vidic, Rio Ferdinand, Anderson the Brazilian. All those players were in that cohort. Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes were all still available. That's the side we're talking about. And then in 2010, of course, it was Chelsea. Then 2011, it was Manchester United. Then Man City in 2012. For those of you that remember, under the charges of Roberto Mancini, winning it on the final day, when they beat up against QPR by 3-2. That goal by Sergio Kun Aguero, for those of you that remember, Manchester United had beaten up against Sunderland, I think by goal to nil in the final game, and we're waiting for what result would come out of the game between Man City and QPR. And then Man City went on to win the title, and it went to Man City. But United thought they were going to win. But they came back in 2013 and won it. And then in 2014, because then Mancini left the following season, and then in 2014, Man City won it under Manuel Pellegrini. Then Jose Mourinho had returned to Chelsea. He won it in 2015. Then in 2016, that's 2015, 2016, you had Leicester City winning it. Then 2017, Chelsea under Antonio Conte. Then Pep Guardiola had come at Man City. Then he won it in 2018 and in 2019. Then 2020, Liverpool won it. Then we all know that between 21 and 24, it was all Man City until today, when Liverpool have taken it. So just again for purposes of historical context, when you wind it back in 2005, it was Chelsea that won it. Then in 2004, it was Arsenal. 2003 was Manchester United, and then 2002 was Arsenal, and then 2001 was Man United, as far as I do remember. Anyways, guys, I think we should call it today because that's it for now. Let's connect tomorrow in yet another broadcast, and we'll be speaking all matters sport. There's a lot happening with transfers. I will be speaking plenty of that. Dinhausen, one of the on-demand centre backs, the Bournemouth player being linked with most Arsenal to Real Madrid, Bayern Munich to Chelsea, Tottenham. In one side, Mark Gahey, who is also being scouted by Newcastle, as well as Tottenham Hotspurs. We then Antoine Semenyo, the FC Bournemouth forward, is also being hunted down by Man United, as well as Arsenal. But Man United are being very serious on signing Matthias Cunha from Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Liam Delap, Ipswich Town striker, 12 goals so far this season and about 2 or 4 assists. I think 4 assists. There is on demand with a £30 million release clause. Should Ipswich get relegated, we all know they were relegated officially yesterday, and so is Chelsea and Manchester United are in the mix of that conversation. They want to sign the England international. So there's plenty of transfer rumors making the rounds, but do keep it on the channel, and I'll do my best to keep you posted on the developments from the world of football as we know it. Do not forget, the UEFA Champions League does return this week. We'll be speaking more of that between Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably Thursday, and then the UEFA Europa League all at the semi-finals, and then the UEFA Conference League. Chelsea are still involved in that. So just keep it on the Football Tribe TV channel, and you will be sure to be brought to the know of the latest from the world of football. Otherwise, have a blessed night. I can see it's coming. It's a 9 minutes shy of 9:30. So let me let you guys go rest, and then also concentrate on bringing you the best tomorrow morning in tomorrow's broadcast. Bye bye for now.